Welcome, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about the New England Patriots bringing back star safety Kyle Dugger, as well as the addition of Jaylinn Hawkins from the Los Angeles Chargers in free agency. So let's get right into these pickups. So starting off here with the Patriots bringing back safety Kyle Dugger on a 4-year, $58 million contract. Around $32.5 of that $58 million is in guaranteed money, and there is a potential out for the Patriots after 2 years of the contract. Hopefully that does not kick in. That would be a very telling sign if this contract was a success or not, if that option is picked up by the Patriots on the third and fourth year. But just continuing to really preach what these Patriots have done during this offseason, which is reward productivity within the defense as well as the offense, and bringing back players who have made plays for them, players who are familiar with the culture, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You know, Gerard Mayo obviously getting the promotion, the head coach here. But they have a lot of players and coaches returning on the defensive side of the ball. Specifically, Brian Belichick, safeties coach, once again returning. I know there'd be a little bit of a question mark there with obviously Steve as well as Bill, of course, leaving the organization. But him retaining and still being around this Patriots organization just speaks to the culture. I know he was talking. I saw a recent interview with him about how he loves the culture. He loves New England. Obviously, him and Gerard have a very good relationship, and DeMarcus Covington, a new defensive coordinator, everyone's working in tandem together. So hopefully the defense is kind of able to repeat that productivity they showed last season. More difficult schedule, so maybe not result-wise in terms of point, but if the Patriots are really kind of able to repeat that production of last season, it's going to be a success, and Kyle Dugger is going to play a huge part in that, especially with these new faces on the defensive side of the ball. Only really Marcellus Dial, but a couple new free agencies that we'll get into. Jaylinn Hawkins. But Kyle Dugger just kind of really being one of those star safeties for you. The versatility just stands out, whether he's playing free safety, box safety, strong safety, even guarding certain matchups with tight ends or playing in the slot like Pat Chung used to. It really just speaks to how Kyle Dugger has really done everything that the Patriots have asked for him. And he's been nothing but productive and has been one of the better defensive players in the league for a while now. So taking a look into Dugger's 2023 stats here, he was recorded with 79 tackles on the season, had 10 pressures/hurries, 3 QB hits, 2 sacks, so he's done a real nice job of blitzing from the secondary position, or I even know that the Patriots kind of had him playing on the end line, on the defensive line, so a nice job on his part getting to the quarterback and creating pressure. He was credited with 27 defensive stops, does a real nice job of stepping up into run lanes and making tackles from there, or even just snuffing out plays in the backfield, whether that's screens, swing passes to the backs. Really just has been versatile and has really showed explosive playmaking on the defensive side of the ball. He was targeted 63 times and allowed 45 receptions for around a receiving percentage of 71%. You'd like to see that go down a little bit, but he is a safety. We're not talking the corner here. And he is guarding more so tight ends, which might be a little bit of quicker routes or even potentially off play action. And I'm not sure if they're really counting his safety snaps from deep coverage in terms of allowing that receiving percentage or even the targeted amount. So that might just be a man coverage, or that might just be in totals for his season. But Kyle Dugger, I still feel very comfortable with Kyle Dugger being matched up against a tight end. Even a guy like Dawson Knox, players like that, Travis Kelce. Obviously, you're not going to take away Travis Kelce, but Kyle Dugger is one of those players who you might feel comfortable guarding Travis Kelce in a one-on-one scenario if you ever feel like guarding a tight end like that in a one-on-one scenario. I feel like Kyle Dugger will hold his own. But even then, you see 5 pass breakups. He had 2 interceptions last season. Just a really good playmaker. Obviously, had that one in New England against Josh Allen, I believe, on the first pass of the game from Josh Allen. I remember that play specifically. Just a real nice job of disguise, and Kyle Dugger really reading the eyes of the quarterback and doing just a nice job of making a ball hawk play on the ball. And he also forced the fumble. But taking a look into his defensive grades, he was credited with a defensive grade of around 62 this past season, a run defense grade of around 80, really nice run defense grade. Just that box safety role, like I said before, coming up, stepping up, making plays. He had a tackling grade of 77.4. I believe that it was actually his best tackling grade so far in the league. So he's done a real nice job of wrapping up in his tackles and making sure that players really don't break out of his tackles. And that's just a staple of the Patriots defense. I felt like last season they did a real nice job of just securing tackles, and it was a credit to them why they performed so well. He had a pass rush grade of around 66.5 from a secondary player. Very productive. Obviously, 2 sacks. He'll take that every day of the week. And he had a coverage grade of around 50. You'd like to see that go up. Probably wasn't his best terms of coverage, but like I said before, I'm rather confident that Kyle Dugger can hold his own in defensive matchups, especially against tight ends or even slot receivers in this league. But kind of speaking to his versatility, just like looking where he's lined up, he was along the defensive line for 45 snaps last season. He was credited with being in the box for around 500 snaps, 478. He was in the slot for around 168 snaps. Played out deep, free safety, 371, and even played a little bit of wide corner, whether that's following a back out or a tight end. Really just shows all the versatility that he's able to display, and he's still able to make plays from each position, so that's really just a good sign and really a defining feature of who Kyle Dugger is. But even looking at his Patriots totals here, I mean, through 4 seasons, he has 247 tackles, 26 hurries, 3 sacks, 2 forced fumbles, 10 pass breakups, 9 interceptions, has returned 11 defensive touchdowns. I mean, you're talking about just a very good elite defensive playmaker here. And I kind of did want to take a look into his receiving percentage given up compared to some of the safeties that we've had here in the past, specifically Devin McCourty as well as Patrick Chung. Patrick Chung, during his time in New England, allowed around a 64% completion percentage, and Devin McCourty around a 60% completion percentage. Obviously, Devin McCourty, you got to factor into the time that he was also playing corner as well. But I wanted to look into Pat Chung specifically here because I feel like Kyle Dugger kind of fits that Patrick Chung role a lot, kind of being that box safety, the strong safety, who really will take on those matchups in man coverage of guarding a tight end or someone like that. And it's pretty similar numbers. Kyle Dugger does allow a little higher of a receiving percentage than Patrick Chung did, but I mean, you're still very comfortable with Kyle Dugger really guarding in man coverage, and it just shows he's really been one of those better defensive playmakers in the league so far. So moving on, the Patriots were also able to sign free agent safety Jaylinn Hawkins here from the Los Angeles Chargers on a 1-year, $1.3 million contract, with not all of that money being in guaranteed money. But this is just adding another body to the Patriots safety room here alongside Jabril Peppers, obviously Kyle Dugger, who we talked about in this portion of the video, Marte Mapu, and Joshua Bledsoe. But adding Jaylinn Hawkins kind of adds another dimension to this Patriots secondary. This safety group is very versatile. Really, you can really put them all over the field. You can put Jabril Peppers in at free safety, slotting Kyle Dugger at free safety. Any of them could really play in the box. Marte Mapu's kind of that safety linebacker hybrid, along with Joshua Bledsoe, kind of fits that role in as well. But Jaylinn Hawkins is really kind of that one guy who can be that free safety that Devin McCourty was, that guy who you could just put in the deep portion of the field and kind of have that be that rover role. That's kind of what he played the majority of his time on the defensive end in Atlanta as well as in Los Angeles. And that was something that the Patriots really missed last season. However, it kind of does show. I know Devin McCourty kind of talked about it a little bit last season. When you have guys like Kyle Dugger, Jabril Peppers, and Marte Mapu on the field last season, they're so versatile that you really can't read what they're going to be able to do from the secondary position, most likely, just based on their tendencies, because they can really play all over the field in the secondary. They can be in the box. They can be pass rushers from the safety position. They could all play in the deep portion of the field. But Jaylinn Hawkins kind of is that guy who you could just put back there and cover the deep portion of the field. It might be a little predictable. I see this more so kind of being like a second, third down type player on the field where if there's a ton of yardage to gain, like a 2nd and 15, a 3rd and 10, something like that, maybe you might bring in Jaylinn Hawkins. I don't foresee him kind of being that early down safety that the Patriots want, but if there's a ton of yardage to go to get to the first down marker, I see like Jaylinn Hawkins kind of being that free safety role who can really have an impact on the Patriots secondary here. But taking a look into his 2023 stats, his play time was certainly down. He was traded from Atlanta to LA, so that certainly factors into it as well. But he was only credited with 7 tackles, only had 2 defensive stops. He was targeted 4 times and allowed 3 receptions, having a pass breakup. His defensive grade was 53.4. He had a run defense grade of around 70, a tackling grade of around 75, and a coverage grade of around 50. But take a look where he kind of lined up. He had 111 free safety snaps, only 13 box snaps, and only 12 defensive snaps from the slot. But this is also a guy who can really play on special teams too. He was in a lot on kick coverages as well as kick returns. Same with punt coverages and punt returns, and was in on field goal blocking scenarios. So this is a guy who brings in special teams versatility, and with the new special teams role, he can certainly carve himself out a role if he's able to really kind of contribute to the defense. Just adding more versatility with playing special teams is certainly going to help him potentially make this roster and even be a roster lock come the 53-man roster trim down. But just taking a look at his career totals, I think he's only played 4 seasons so far. He has 84 tackles. He has 1 QB hit, 1 sack, 4 interceptions. So that's a good sign. 6 pass breakups, 19 defensive stops. He has had 2 defensive touchdowns. Like I said before, kind of plays that free safety rover role. But that's what you're kind of looking for Jaylinn Hawkins if he is going to carve himself out a piece on this secondary. I feel like it is going to be through that free safety, deep rover role on later downs. Maybe you might see him on early downs, considering what the Patriots might use him with. He is a rather good run defense player, but I think his best role for this team is to be a later down, long distant type player who can really just cover a good portion of the field with his speed. And you're certainly going to see him on special teams, especially with the new rules. So this is a good signing by the Patriots, just adding another body and even adding another dimension to what that safety room can do. All right, everyone, those were my thoughts on the Patriots re-signing of Kyle Dugger as well as the addition of Jaylinn Hawkins. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. And as the channel continues to develop, continued support means a lot. So once again, thank you so much for watching.